All right, Adron. So we recording now. Let everybody know a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I'm at Ron Martin, burgeoning unsuccessful content creator on the internet. Black man in America from the South, not too far away from KKK territory, I'll skip and a jump away. But yeah, man, I'm just a normal everyday dude, with a slight skew to the nerdy side of things, which does has given me a unique perspective as far as the
Yeah,
black community and all that good stuff like that. But I'm a simple guy, man. People know me for what I am. Some people think I'm crazy. Some people think I'm lovely. It is what it is, man. That's
oh yeah,
in a
definitely
nutshell.
at work.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody.
Definitely at work. People don't realize outside Adron is not at work Adron.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Uh,
Yeah. Some people get a glimpse into it. Most people don't.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's cool with it because I'm fine. I know how to move, so I'm good.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I gave you, when I asked you about this, a little insight of what kind of where I wanted to go with it, because I did the one last week with Terry, my old therapist back in the day,
Mhm.
and he gave, he's 48. You're a few years older than me. I think you're like 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously by that, age and gap, you're gonna have a different view or a different, uh, I guess, your learning experiences of seeing things as you grew up from your childhood are gonna be different than his.
Yeah. Of course.
Especially how obviously y'all both went different career paths easily.
Yeah.
Somewhere with that, the shit you've been through, the shit you've seen, and if you watched his, maybe like differences compared to how he had it.
Yeah. For sure. You broke up a little bit there, but I'm gonna try to follow. What I believe the
My
line of
bad.
question. No, it ain't your fault, man. The internet is the internet. So like to be honest with you, I believe that you know, most black people in America kind of share similar experiences, have the same stories for the most part. For me, I've been a victim of, profiling and racism. Nothing too violent, fortunately, but I've been pulled over for a simple seatbelt ticket, and then they decided to search my car and treat me like I was a criminal. But
Yeah.
oh, excuse me, my bad. I don't know who the hell that was, but so I've been there. But at the same time, coming up in my era, um, like some of my first best friends were white people. Now, mind you, I
Yeah.
come from the hood. Nothing 100% black people in my neighborhood. But when I got to school, when I got to kindergarten, here, when I got to daycare, some of my first friends were white people. So, like, I grew up with not really worrying about color until I got a little bit older and stuff like that. But of course, being that I had positive experiences with all races, my perspective was a little bit different than some of my other peers who
Yeah.
maybe didn't get accepted the same way I did due to whatever like my disposition was as a kid. Cause like, for instance, when I came up, like in the early 90s, before, cell phones and devices and shit like that, the only things you could really have portably was a Game Boy, which my mom wouldn't
Yep.
give me that, or like a cassette Walkman or something. That was it.
Yeah.
So since I didn't
Yeah.
have either of those, I had books and I would read books on the bus. Now, reading a book on the bus in the hood ain't the most glorious thing. People don't, look up to that or think it's cool or whatever. To the point
Yeah.
where there was this young black lady on the bus, and I was reading my book, and she looked at me with like such disgust and was like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you always reading books?" And I couldn't
Yeah.
understand, especially in a time when we didn't really have shit else to do, right? So I say that just to say that like the way I moved back in those days was like completely different than most of my peers. So
Yeah.
like my experience on that might just be a little different, you know. Um, a lot of people feel like some white people are the bane of their existence. They impede their progress and stuff. For me, it was the exact opposite. Most of the time, it was
Yeah.
white people telling me, "Hey, you can do it. You can make it." Um, from authority figures to peers, like I guess just the way I came through,
Yeah.
they like what they saw. Didn't always get that from black people. Most of the black people told me, I wasn't shit, didn't deserve to be here. Being that my interests were different, I got ostracized and chastised a lot as a youth
Yeah.
coming by my own people, the same people that you see now saying, black solidarity, we together, which we are, but at the same time, you can't just do that for the other people. You can't just do that as a show. Probably got to bring that to the neighborhood too, right? And that's just a quick, gist of my experience coming up as a black person, 30 something years old.
Yeah.
That was always like the worst thing for me, because even as a youth, I always thought, okay, we're black, we share the same skin color, we should be, treating each other a certain way. Like, I never really had an issue with a black person until they had an issue with me. Because I'm like, hey man, we in this together, not even about, dealing with racism, but we're a tribe. We're always around each other. Why don't we, treat each other a certain way, certain respect, certain love? So I was always confused coming up, I don't know. It seemed like until I had something to offer somebody in the black community, that's the only time they showed me love.
Yeah.
When I was just doing this shit for fun, like what I got right now, black people looking at you crazy. That's what you do, man. Come shoot some hoops, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go hit the club, man. You fucking around with them video games, bro? What the hell wrong with you, man? Come get some pussy. That was my experience. It was never like, hey, that's Adron. He one of us. He different, but we still fuck when we gonna protect him. He a good dude. I ain't really get that until nowadays, when all this technology shit done kind of spread out and everybody uses stuff like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. It made me the man I am today. Why people think I'm an asshole and shit like that, but that's it's just because I got treated so harshly for me being me. I kind of had to become kind of shut off and shut down and things of that nature. So, yeah, I mean, so that's kind of like my black experience as far as that.
I mean, I could relate to that from a white person's perspective, because growing up, like I clearly, one, I don't like country music at all.
Oh, well, you out the game then, buddy.
I'm not. So already, I'm in the South. I don't like country music, so I'm already like, oh, who the hell is this guy? But I clearly remember getting grounded and listening on some janky ass radio in my room to "What's Your Fantasy" by Ludacris when that shit came out.
What's your fantasy? Yes, sir.
And me and my boy Sam Twiggs and Kwame Jackson would be in the library at Redcliffe Elementary, and that's all we would do. So already from the get-go, not liking country, all that kind of shit. I'm not that typical Southern kid at all, even though I'm raised down here. So I've always had that as well. So it makes you end up start sticking to yourself and doing your own thing. And I guess I was considered part of that outcast group growing up at the same time. But yeah, like even when I met you, like back in the day at Genco, almost 7, 8, 9 years ago. I don't know how long it's been. You rolled up and you was quiet. You didn't really say a lot. You wasn't really out to have a conversation with anybody. But if someone asked you something, you was cool with it. Got straight to the point and went on about your business. I know I've said it, I don't know how many times with people at Bridgestone. I was like, if you want something done, you get Adron on it. Because back then, if they had a truck they needed done quick, they sent me and you on that shit, and that's what that shit got done. We just clicked, and it was like boom, boom, bam, truck done. They knew who the hell to get when they needed shit done. So I could definitely see you on that side for sure. But one of the other ones that I mentioned to you the other day that I wanted to get on to, because Terry couldn't really speak on that, was you fuck with the white women. Your old lady. So I'm pretty sure going up like that, seeing like not really, as you say, welcomed on your own side. Did that help you, or did that just further that divide?
Nah, man. I was gonna say it's kind of actually not even close to that for me. So growing up, like I was told, don't you mess with no white girls. They gonna get you fucked up. Seriously, man. I was scared of white girls, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was like, if I make the wrong move and she decide to go to the cops or something, or just say I did something wrong, kind of like how
that's some serious shit right there.
Yeah. So like that's how I was raised. So it was until like high school, like when I really started, because that once I hit high school, like at that point I kind of didn't care. Like my taste was like, if I find you attractive, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to move on you or whatever. So, yeah, man, that I mean that's really it. It's just like there's nothing about my black experience as a young man that kind of shaped and puts me in that direction. And
Yeah.
the situation with my ex was, we were friends since high school, and then we kind of just met back around again, years later. She seemed like, she was cool. I could trust her. I could be comfortable with her. And that's all I really be looking for. So I don't really
Yeah.
care about the race or something. If I could be comfortable and be myself. Now,
Yeah. That's all that matters.
maybe that might be, from my young black experiences that, I felt like I could be myself without
Yeah.
judgment with her. So if that pushed me towards a white woman, then yeah, you could say that. But it's not something I'm like, well, can't do the black chicks because, I predominantly have been with black women. It's just,
Yeah.
they had to roll with the punches of who I was. But yeah, so nah, it wasn't nothing too crazy, man. And within the relationship, I can honestly say we were very lucky. We didn't experience anything crazy either, as far as
Yeah.
us being interracial, being an interracial couple. If anything, we got congratulations, at least from white people.
Yeah.
We was random
Really?
white, yeah, like random white women all the time, be like, "Oh, you guys are so beautiful. I love it. I love it."
Really?
We're kind of like, it's really not that serious, bro. Like we ain't even really seeing the black and white of it for
Yeah.
ourselves, but
Yeah.
it's cool. Now, of course, I got my little dead eye stares from black women because sometimes they take offense to it, but nothing egregious, just
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
their preferences. So yeah, it was actually quite simple.
All right. Well, I mean, yes. As always, straight to the point with
Yeah,
everything.
hey man, I don't do all that extra shit, man. Keep it simple, stupid. Kiss all day. Keep it
I
simple,
don't
stupid.
blame you. I don't blame you. So, with all this going on, like, do you see, like, if you've never really had it, I guess, like I said, if you listen to Terry's one, it doesn't seem like you've had as many negative interactions or altercations as he has. But granted, he is older than both of us. But what do you see with all this going on?
So like I 100% get it because, like I said, once again, even though my experience, in certain racial situations wasn't violent, like it was still there and it was still apparent,
Yeah.
from school, getting in trouble in school. I didn't get the benefit of the doubt, or I didn't get to have a conversation trying to explain my case. They shut me down real quick, called mama shut me down, like I said, once again in the streets, pretty much every time I've been pulled over, or got into a car accident even,
Mm.
they at least want to search my car.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know I probably was just lucky for the most part, but I don't know if it was my disposition because the Terry guy seems like he had a nice disposition if he was in those situations. So I don't know if it's just the way I presented myself, or maybe I just don't seem as much of a threat, so I don't
Mm.
get certain reactions.
Yeah.
Like with the George situation, the way I look at it is, yeah, race was probably like the starter agitator as to why things may have went the way they went. Um, Definitely, I'm pretty
Mm.
sure if it was a white man in that situation, they probably wouldn't have went that far. Even if it was, excessive force, probably wouldn't have been nowhere near as excessive. But
Mm.
I, I feel like you also got to look at the ego of a man that also feels like maybe he has the upper hand on a black person. Because if you look at the wide scale of things, just from a world view, from a wide perspective, um, the racism thing really is just a factor of that. When people that do have those prejudices are in those situations, they don't feel like they have anything to lose if they treat
Yeah.
somebody unfairly or unjustly, right? Um, and that's, in my opinion, that's really all it boiled down to. A spark of that racism, you know, and then also that man's ego. He probably felt kind of good. He, got the big man down. You
He
know what I'm
got
saying?
all the power.
Yeah, because
He held all the
exactly,
cards.
exactly. Because if you, from me looking at that video, like the way he was kind of like looking around, knowing he was being filmed, but still, deciding,
Still doing it.
yeah. At that point, I think racism kind of was gone, and it was more like ego. Like I'm
Yeah, it
big
was
man
like
now.
I'm gonna show y'all. He had
Exactly,
all eyes on him as he was doing what he was doing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So like I think the black community needs to be, cognizant of that type of dynamic. Like I really love what I'm seeing. Like I'm glad, there are people who are really, making noise about the situation and saying what they want, and not just standing for, more
Yeah.
BS and wanting the cops to be held accountable. Um, but I'm just hoping that, we stick to it. And that we actually just believe in the whole accountability thing,
Yeah.
because like a racist, not necessarily racism, because that's a systematic version of it, but a racist, you're probably not going to really be able to do too much to change, a racist, person's point of view.
Mm.
But as long as we fight to make sure that when they do wrong shit, they're held accountable,
Yeah.
saying with no hesitation, that's really all I'm like,
Yeah.
super excited for.
I mean, that definitely a big step that needs to have happen for sure.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, like in the instance of cops, they're yeah, everyone like I don't think anyone truly. I'm sure there are, but not all of them are bad. Obviously,
100%.
there are good ones, and if shit happens, you're gonna need somebody, and chances are, if shit goes sideways, you might need to call them, and you're gonna want them to be there and do their shit. But when the ones that mess up, like you said, need to be held accountable, not always that brotherhood of, hey, just don't worry about it, we got your back. Like, no,
Exactly.
you fucked up, you
Exactly.
fucked up.
Exactly.
Like, own up to your shit. Like, you're supposed to be a man. You messed up. You messed up, man. Don't just
Exactly.
cover that shit up because y'all on the same job or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yep.
Brotherhood's one thing, but
Yeah.
hell, even in family, if family fucks up, call them out.
Exactly. Like if you're a brotherhood, then you gotta, what I'm saying, you gotta also make them learn as well when they fuck up, like you
Exactly.
say. So I mean, that's what a real brotherhood, a real family is supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You call each other out and you help everybody get back on the right track.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like if they were to do it, they'd be like, well, you suck, you're stupid, I hate you. It's like, hey, man, again, you fucked up. We got to get this thing right. Own up to it. And whatever the case is, even if you end up going to jail, I mean, shit, it sucks, but there's cause and effect. You gotta have the consequences.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Even if it is a slip of judgment or something, consequences have to happen.
Exactly.
Happens to everybody else in the world. Certain people shouldn't be excluded from it.
That's it, man. That's it. And to stay on that topic, I don't know if you're aware of the story that happened in Atlanta. Well, I think it was like 4 black cops, 1 white cop. They pulled the college students out the car with tasing them and shit. You aware of that story?
If it was recent, I've kind of between work and the weekend off, I've kind of been not reading so much.
Yeah.
So no, that right now that does not sound familiar.
Well, you good. I mean, that ain't the important part of the conversation. But so basically, some young kids, black kids, broke curfew down in Atlanta. The cops came to arrest them or deal with them or whatever. They ended up being very, very aggressive. Like I said, tasing the young woman, tasing the young man. And it didn't really look like they were doing anything to warrant that kind of excessive force. But so the point I guess I wanted to make was when I looked more into the story, read some commentary around the story. A lot of the commentary that once people found out they were black people were like, oh man, it's crazy that they brought up the charges on them so fast. Why didn't they do that to the white cops?
Yeah.
It's so sad to see that the black man did it. Oh man, like everybody was all like, oh man, what was me? Didn't afford that same luxury to the white man that did wrong. And I guess my thing is when we do these kind of protests and want these kind of changes, the black community, we need to be prepared to receive what we're asking for. Like you're asking for people to be accountable. You're asking for the world not to see race or take race into consideration. So we got to be prepared to deal with that shit when it happens to us too.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing to see that because this happened, right after the George situation. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I thought this is what y'all wanted. No matter what they look like, if they do wrong, they need to be held accountable. And that's just something I want to, say to the black community is that we can't ask for these sweeping changes, but still look for preferential treatment or a softer hand when it's, one of us.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that their point is, well, y'all didn't do the white man like that, but we weren't rioting before. Once everybody started rioting and protesting, you see how fast the charges came up.
Yeah.
which were actually very fast if you compare it to any other case like this before. And then also the charges got upgraded. Then when the black men did it, because nobody wants another protest, another riot in their city. Of course, they're gonna throw charges on those guys real fast, regardless of the color of their skin. So once again, I'm just asking that, any black folks that see this, just understand you can't have these split arguments. If you want to see certain changes, you got to be prepared to see the changes across the board if you want it to be fair like you say you do. So that's just my only point with that situation.
No, man, I think that definitely is a fair, 100% that's a fair argument. There's no flaw in that at all. I will say, and now, because you brought up that, which I don't recall that story, but you touched on something of a story that I just learned about today that I think just recently came out. I seen it floating around and I looked into it, and it was from it was down in Texas. It was late last year. Basically the same, to an extent, the same thing as what happened with George, except it was a white guy.
Okay.
I think his name was Tim Timba or Timmy Timba. I don't remember exactly, but basically what happened, and I think the only reason this one didn't go as far like George had is because it was only body cams, the only officer body cams. No one was around. It was after dark. The man had taken some drugs. He was mentally unstable. He had some mental health issues, and I think he had taken either too little or too much of his medication.
I got you.
So he kind of went a little cuckoo apparently. And when the body cam came in, the footage, he was already on the ground. Same situation, handcuffed. I think they said his feet were tied as well. And there was a guy, not necessarily, like he had his hand on his neck, but not his knee, but his knee was in his back. Okay. And the dude, he was like crying and everything, trying like, hey, let me breathe, basically saying the same stuff as George had said. And the officers were laughing.
Wow.
Officers clearly laughing, talking about some kind of like mental health cocktail or something that sedates them and whatnot. And same as George, the kid ended up passing away.
Okay.
While being on the ground.
Gotcha.
Now, again, from what I've read of the story, the only reason it's not national news is because a lot of times, with the body cam footage, they ain't got to release it if they don't want to.
Yeah.
That has to be done through courts. And it was finally some news station had fought multiple courts down there apparently to get it released. Really? Okay. Now that's released, everyone luckily is like, holy shit, how dare they do this? Because again, they were laughing at the poor kid. He was obviously something was wrong with the man. Yeah. But you have him basically hogtied. His hands are cuffed behind his back. His feet are tied. He's basically hogtied. He's not in any danger to anybody, not even himself really at this point. You're laughing at the man. He ends up dying, and they still joke about him.
Yes.
They still joke about him, and I think those cops did end up getting charged, but only after that video got released. Yeah. It's kind of like it goes in the same line as the I always forget how to pronounce the name, Ahmaud Arbery case.
Yeah.
None of us knew about that shit until that video got released.
Yep.
And you can't necessarily say they would have gotten away with it without it.
Yeah.
But the fact that I think it was like 2 months after that we learned about the
likelihood.
Fact,
yeah, the likelihood.
Then charges got made. Yeah. It really comes down to shit like that needs to, like, even internally, it doesn't need to be released to the whole world for them people to finally be like, oh shit, this is fucked up. If it happened, even if it's internally, whether the shit's released to the public or not, if people fucked up, hold them accountable right then and there.
100%.
It shouldn't be like months later, it gets released, and then everyone sees it, everyone's outraged, and then the pressure's on you to now correct it.
Yep.
It should be from day one, whatever the case is.
Yep. And that's all it is.
That's definitely another messed up aspect of everything going around that needs to be looked at, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, that's the way the world kind of works behind the scenes. Yeah. It's a form of nepotism to an extent. But yeah, obviously in those situations though, when it's dealing with the law, dealing with people who are supposed to protect and serve, like they just have to be held to a higher standard. I hate to say it because I know maybe the salary doesn't is not the equivalent of somebody who has to bear those kind of responsibilities. You know, so
Yeah.
maybe that's something we can work on. But man, when you got that kind of power and you have, you know, somebody life in your hands, like
Yeah.
you got to move different, bro. You know, like people have said it 1,000 times, us regular citizens, we have to move different, you know, in certain situations. Like we can't just, you know, say fuck it. And, you know, hopefully somebody's gonna, you know, sweep it under the rug, you know, might get a
Yeah.
little small reprimand or something like that. You know, also these to go along with that, these entities have to stop, you know, pandering when the public has an outcry with these
Yeah.
situations. You know, that's because that's all it is. Like I hate to say it, you know, the reason why things are moving the way they are is because, you know, people are pandering. You know, I mean, you know, it may come from a good place or it may end up serving somebody very well, helping somebody out that needs it. But at the same
Yeah.
time, if it weren't for all these, you know, rise and protests, all these companies and
Yeah.
entities wouldn't be donating and Black Lives Matter and all that shit because you wasn't really doing it before, you know.
Yeah, you might have
Now,
thought it, but you kept your mouth shut about it.
yeah, or you didn't support you didn't put no money into the cause. Like you ain't like you know, you got these companies putting in millions. You could have been putting in, you know,
The whole
50,000, you know.
time.
So like, yeah, nothing too
Yeah.
crazy. Say, hey man, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. Um, like, so I understand though, you know, everybody wants to have a positive face card in these situations and stuff, try to keep the peace and all that good stuff. But I'm hoping that from this point, it'll start to be more of a natural thing. And
Yeah.
it's to be like, hey, okay, we heard you finally. We really heard you this time. And we're gonna, you know, make sure we put some effort in those directions as well. So I'm hoping that's what we get out of this.
Yeah, 'cause it definitely shouldn't be where we have to lose someone's life or someone has to lose
Exactly.
their life for people
Exactly.
to finally see it. Because everyone sees it, no matter where you're at, you see it. You might
Yeah.
not see somebody passing, and thankfully or hopefully you never do, but it shouldn't take death or
100%.
something tragic at all for people to
Exactly.
be like, whoa, 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 wait up. You
Yep.
see it every day, whether you admit it or not. Everyone has seen some form of racism, whether it be, you know, walking across the other side or like, hey, you can't date my daughter or whatever the hell. There's so many scenarios you can go by, and everyone's seen at least one in their lifetime.
100%.
And yeah, it should be an act of a tragic situation to happen for people to finally take notice and want something to change.
Yep. And that goes for everybody. Like I
Yeah.
said, for the black people too. Like, I don't know if you've seen those posts on Facebook. You know, I'm a black man, and I would, you know, I would never again, you know, disrespect black man or treat another black man badly. I don't know if you've seen those posts, but
Yeah.
that should have been the mantra from day fucking one. It shouldn't have been, oh, you know, another racial event, somebody getting killed. Now I care about my brother. Like, so I'm just saying that to say I just want to see that across the board,
Mm.
period. Because it's everything people are asking for is just being a good human being. And I don't know why it's
Yeah.
such a
Exactly.
difficult thing. That's all we're asking for. I don't know why it's such a hurdle we have to jump as humans, you know, across the world, really. It's not just an
Yeah.
American thing. So I don't know, man. Like I've always tried to live my life where, like, you know, how people think I'm an asshole, but really I give everybody a baseline
Yeah.
of respect and equality until you show me something different. You show me something more, like, you know, instant for you know what I'm saying? Back at Genco, you show love. Hell, you show love to the music, you know what I'm saying? Of your
Oh
own
yeah.
accord when you came
Carolina
across.
Cool Whip.
Yeah,
I was telling my
exactly.
wife
So
about that shit earlier today, bro.
real.
Carolina Cool Whip.
Yeah, man. So, you know, that's gonna raise your stock on a personal level with me.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm dealing with somebody that's, you know, kind of, you know, treat me kind of iffy, and you know, I'm not gonna share the same love for you. Like if somebody
Yeah.
else came and asked me, do I want to jump on their podcast? I'm like, hell no, I'm Gucci. But you asked, like, it wasn't even a second thought. Of course, after all these years, you know what I'm saying, of the
Yeah.
love you showed me, of course, I'm gonna leave.
I definitely appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't shit. It ain't nothing, dog. But yeah, basically, I just want to see, you know, everything that people are asking for, everything that people are claiming to be about, and how they're purporting themselves. I hope it continues, man. That's what I want to see. I just want to see it continue.
Yeah, I think everyone should for sure. And like you were talking about with the whole, you know, the how the black community should, you know, be like that should have always been like that from the start. I know I'm seeing that for sure on my side with the, you know, white people I have on my Facebook or just that I know in general will post, you know, they'll post that all lives matter stuff, and I'm not even getting into that, but they'll say that, and then I'll hear them saying some like negative stuff about an entire people. I'm like, that's part of all. If you want to say that, act like it.
Yep, 100%.
You know, if you want to actually legitimately say that, and that's what, you know, even if you're just doing it to be a dick and troll because it's going to piss people off.
Yeah.
Well, then don't also just be upset when people call you out on your bullshit at the same time. Because I think that's one of the most things I've seen that I'm really starting to get aggravated with, just the hypocrisy.
Yes, buddy.
But people saying stuff now when like a few years later or whatever, they would say the opposite or you know, and that's something that's always aggravated me for sure. And it's just
the biggest illness, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely bubbling up more now with this situation.
Yeah.
Than I've noticed in the past for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it basically goes down to, you know, fuck all the racial shit, the tribalism shit. It's like we got to start treating people based on the merits of their actions.
Yeah.
So their character. And this has been said before, you know what I'm saying? All the most, you know, great leaders of our time and people trying to direct this kind of course for human existence have said it before. Martin Luther King said it. Need to judge a man based off the merit of his character, not how he looks.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know what it takes. You know, people are always gonna have some prejudices based on how you look. That's just a human thing.
That goes beyond race. Like if it's weird,
exactly.
Somebody's gonna say shit at some point, or they've been bullied at some point. Just you know, if your eyeball looks a little askew, someone's gonna talk shit at some point.
Yeah, or they might treat you a little different. But I mean, it's to be expected. But at the same time, we also have to be big enough to say, well, I might not like looking at him. I might not like being around him. But as long as his character is good, I'm not going to impede his progress. I'm not going to stop him from having a good life. That's really all it is. Like all the other stuff is small scale. Like, of course, if I come through with a suit and tie, I'm going to get treated differently than when I come through with my IQ shirt and some sneakers on, you know, depending on the scenario, right? It goes both ways, though. If I go to the hood in a suit and tie, I'm going to get treated a certain way. That's probably negative. I go to a corporate entity with suit and tie, I'm going to get treated positively. So, you know, you got to know where you're at. And for the things that people can't control, we need to just be aware that they can't control that. You know, I can't hate on you for having red hair. You know,
exactly.
That's how you're born with it. I shouldn't allow that to cause me to impede your progress. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you came, you know, with no shirt on, I might be like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's exactly. Like, that's totally fine. Obviously,
Gotta be smarter, man. With how we deal with each other.
Sure. Well, shit, man. I wasted about 30 minutes of your time. I know you got some game you probably got to play.
You good, bro. You good, man. Like, shit, if there's any questions you want to ask while I'm here or any topics.
Well, I think I'm good for now because my ass does got to get to work in the morning.
Oh, shit. All right, then, big dog.
Yeah, I got Hell Week coming up, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
I definitely want to say, man, I appreciate it. And you keep doing your thing. And I'm going to tag you in this thing, hopefully send people your way.
Yeah,
so if you want to give a shout out to your channel on YouTube.
Yeah, man. You come on through the youtube.com/Kangland Media, KINGLANDMEDIA. New content is actually coming soon, man. So y'all gonna get subscribed up, and then, you know, just when the new things pop up, come through, drop a like or something, hit a comment or two. I appreciate it.
All right, man. You take care of yourself, bro.
All right, man. Thank you for having me on, man. You have a good day, bro.
All right, you too.